Hi everyone, welcome. This is the live interview with Daniela Iron. I am Paula Wicks, and today we are talking about Esther energy. And I'll just read to you, Daniela, because I reshared your post that you posted recently on Facebook, and it resonated with so many people, and they really connected with your words. So let me read it to you, okay, for the audience. What you wrote was, you said the Esther energy is about to hit the earth for the next 20 years. This is all symbolic of where we are heading. The energy of Esther is one to be affiliated with the renewing of our thoughts, mission, purpose for the greater good. It's about being the endless light into the places that have been concealed and dark. It is about you shifting your thoughts and energy towards humanitarian work and ideas that help the collective. This new era is one that I, Daniela, have been talking about since 2015. We finally enter into this realm in March for nearly 20 years. Esther is a symbol of matters that will be political, economical, and innovative. This divine energy is hovering to be united and merged with those who are ready to bring projects that will release the world into a golden era of creativity, divine unions, and extraordinary technological innovations to bring healing, education, and transformation experiences from the inside out.
Wow! I'm amazed at what that says. I think I want to jump on board with what I said.
I know, I'll say yes.
We say yes to that. Wow, thank you so much, Paula.
You're welcome.
Just hearing it back, just like kind of sends shivers down your body of knowing that this is greater than ourselves. It's much bigger than just an individual person that's going to come on the scene, or it's this one group of people. No, it's the whole earth is going to have to transition into a new consciousness. We're being forced into it. So just hearing it in that way makes you think, okay, where can I be in this? Where do I fit in? And I think that's why people resonated with so much. And I probably reached out to you and said, okay, what do I do?
Yeah. And that's the thing, because I think it connects with you in your knower, in your gut, in your belly, in that juicy part of the creative womb of womanhood. And, there's been so much talk about the rising feminine, which is, Esther, the ability to go into the councils, approach the king. She understood who she was. She'd been prepared for such a time and season as this, yet it was integrally woven within her spirituality and her DNA. So she really came on the scene at the right time. And I felt that feminine connection when you talked about that. Yeah, and I think that's what women are connecting with.
Yeah, and it's the beauty of it, Esther, this typical kind of energy is actually a merging between you and the creator. So we're coming into joint forces of doing things that matter, because as we all know, God wants to do things that matter, that are never forgotten, and it creates legacy. So the women who are ready for this are going to have to come into this internal space of working on anything that's missing and lacking and traumatizing and breaking them down, to merge with God, to come and co-create something for this new era. And this is astrologically as well. It is over 20 years. This is not like some kind of number I just came out of my head. From a planetarian aspect, things have shifted, and they start from March 23rd. So we are going to experience every year it gets more and more intense. It's not going to happen on March 23rd. Everyone just goes into higher consciousness. This is just the beginning. It's like we're going back into some kind of, I wouldn't say schooling, but it's a reprogramming. We must reprogram to what our original DNA was made, the original source. And that has always been emerging between the self, the person, and God. That's how it works. And that's how and why humanitarian work or something to elevate to the earth will be of the biggest necessity. Because you can't do humanitarian work without the creator. I don't think that that's possible.
No, that's good. And I love that, because you're actually pointing in a direction of where we're going, because we've been talking deconstructing and dealing with your DNA, dealing with your trauma, and we've gone into trauma growth and recovery, but it's also kind of like this next step of go on.
Yes. No, Paul, you're absolutely right. It's like you know, when you go for a follow-up checkup. Well, this is exactly what's happening. Yes, we've been through a massive process. Yes, we've been through some massive purging and massive global changes. So it's not even like, we can't ignore the fact what's happened in the last even 3 years. There's going to be more.
There's going to be
that
more.
was only just a taste of what of our resilience can take. And because systems are collapsing, I have been speaking about this when I first started online in 2015. I put out a ridiculous word saying there's going to be a massive, huge collapse in society of the way things were, and the people who are in power. It will change. It will shift towards the power to the people. And that's what Esther is about. Got to remember here that Esther did not do this on her own.
That's true.
Esther had the support at that time when she was praying. She had many people praying with her. So that energy alone is going to move mountains. So we're seeing now a major shift into bringing this voice, these creations, these projects, all from the people.
I love that. It's so good. And I think this is also, you know, the architectural trusting the creator, that he is weaving, he will align you, he will connect you with, you know, aligned relationships and businesses and things like that, because the synergy moving forward to elevate, you were talking before about elevating the new world that is coming, and all of us stepping through into this new consciousness. And I think this is also bringing reconciliation and harmony to what was old, which was more hatred, tribalism, division, survival. You know, share a little bit about what you're seeing there.
Well, this is the thing, like we've been all working from the place of fear of losing out, lack, financial loss, you know, fear of so many things that we've been programmed to think that it's just going to continue this way. So what happens is when this energy, this whole shift on the earth happens, there's going to be people who have been prepared for this shift. It's not as if like you can just step into it. There's been people who have been sitting in this hidden place, quietly preparing themselves for the elevation of this new consciousness, this earth that is supposed to be like the Garden of Eden.
Yes.
Right? Now, we can all see it in a different aspect. We can call it something else, whether it's a new earth, a new era, but it is back to that place where there was no fear, because everybody was, well, not everybody, but the way that God had created it was there was peace, there was multiplication, and there was fruitfulness. So we're going to see that elevate again through, and this is a beautiful thing, through people who are honest and true about what they're doing. You come into this era, people are so switched on now, they will see straight through you. Because what's happened also is our level of intuition has heightened. So the actual ceiling has broken, and that connection between you and the creator is so thin right now that you will hear and go, no, nah, yes, no. And this is what's happening. The intuition, your spirituality, your things that you do in the day will be prioritized very differently, because it's going to literally shift you that way. Now, why am I saying this? Because this will be part of your mission. It will be part of your content creation. It'll be part of what you do for the collective, because some are not ready. But if you are ready, that means that you can start to elevate others and rebuild the earth. That is what we're here to do. We're here in a building capacity, not just from physical, because it is physical. So what happens here is, if I go a little bit into ancient Jewish mysticism, that the spirit world and the physical world marry. And that is what the Esther energy is. And it comes into full circle redemption and resurrection. So it is an era where your words are going to be the creation.
Yes.
So it's really important, because the energy is communication, it's technology, it's air. So air travels. We're here, we're doing this real time. Everything is going to be based on words. So this is why the power of content creation from writers, artists, musicians, the creative world is going to explode over the next few decades. And there are people waiting for this. And unfortunately, what we've seen is in these industries, a lot of people have either had their stuff ripped off from them, or they've never been paid properly from their gifts and talents. We are coming into a new system. Technology is allowing us to have that, because of blockchain, because of how people are going to get paid, money, the economy. It's all going to shift. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to see this gradually happen, and people are going to start getting more confident in what they are doing, and knowing that this is the exchange, because we're still here on the physical earth plane, that there is an exchange from digital currencies, or you're doing something for someone, they do something for you. There's an exchange. There's always going to be some kind of exchange. The powerful thing is right now is that you have an opportunity to innovate. You have an opportunity to do something that possibly could be an answer to somebody's problem, to somebody's pain, to help them. This is a humanitarian era. It is not about self. It is not about what I am and how great I am. It's what can I give? How can I fill your vessel with light? I'm not going to take from your vessel. I'm going to literally come into your vessel and lift you up and fill you up. So what can you do that is going to help elevate the world, so that we all become more connected to the creator and be able to give freely without fear?
So brilliant. And I think this is the other thing too, you know, you're talking about exchange of currency. because we have to bring it to that place where everything is purified, everything is beautiful, everything is love. You know, money is not evil. It's just serving us, but we need it to do these humanitarian projects. And in the past, somebody would come along, try and, you know, knock us off course, or preach an old archaic understanding and knowledge that is twisted scripture, and it actually does not benefit humanity. So great point there.
No, and sorry, you know what? I better put my little charger in because it's about to go. Sorry, folks. I was going to say, Paula, adding on to that is transparency. We're going to see transparency like never before. So what we thought, you know, before we were trying to find out things and wondering how things work, well, they're just going to be so transparent, you won't miss it. You won't miss a thing. See, this era, because we're entering into a technological era, everything has to be exposed. So remember, Esther's all about the hidden and the concealed being revealed. So her energy, this Shekinah energy, actually lifts the lid off all things that used to, you know, oh, I wonder how that works. I wonder how that happens. Or how does this person that creates this piece of music get paid? And where before it was like, we didn't know. We didn't know how to make royalties. We didn't know how, you know, if your book sells, if someone steals it, well, how do I keep the rights to that? That is all going to be transparent. And the thing is, this is what brings people into higher consciousness. You won't be able to just get away with these things.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a karmic law in play, you know.
Yes.
There truly is. There are universal principles that God, you know, our creator set in place. And when you work against them, there are consequences.
I absolutely agree with you. And this is why we have to enter this era with a pure heart, with a servant's heart. And I've been talking about this as well for years. We must be doing things that serve others and not ourselves, with a humanitarian spirit. And there's going to be new careers, jobs, missions, projects being invited towards people, and it's going to be around science, inspiring people, inspiring your community, spiritual guidance, therapeutic things like a bit off the beaten track kind of therapy. It's not going to be sitting there and doing talk psychotherapy. It's going to be full body immersion. We're going into the Web3 world. I mean, there is so much, because I can feel it in my body.
Yeah, no, you're bang on. Yeah.
How to keep myself going at the same time, because I'm hearing, but at the same time, we're going to see these shifts happen where people actually stop playing small and going, I must conform to what was. They're finally going to, and I believe that you'll be able to help people with this, because there's so many like limiting beliefs and blockages still lurking around, right? They're like just little, you know, nigglers that come around, to allow them to work in their gifting, their true gifting, and to not think that, well, the whole world has to accept me. No, because we're entering an era where you can have a group of people that creates this movement, because it's revolutionary. There's a revolution. Now, in this time, if we go back many, many hundreds of years, we've got revolutions. It's all coming again. It's all coming again. And revolutions were created by what? The people speaking up. The people changing the laws. And governments, everything.
Yes. And that's why we're hearing, you know, so many people are passionate about social justice right now, you know, because that's the energy that's flowing into this year, and it's rising everyone up, and it's the subject, you know, and it's the discerning, you know, I've been hoodwinked. What is the truth? Will the truth stand up? And only the truth. We demand clarity and truth to come forth now. And that's the other thing too, when we've been lulled into a false sleep, we've just absorbed everything, but now the body literally is purging itself of toxicity.
Oh, it's so wonderful because we actually do receive a new body if you want it.
Exactly.
I know it sounds a bit controversial right now, but you have the ability, because it's what is meant to happen. You are still here, but you can enter a new field where you have everything in you that is already healed. You are already whole. That's why it's the last. Basically, we chose to be here at the most amazing. Apparently, this is what I read. It was like the golden ticket. Anyone that got to be here had the golden ticket during this era. We must have just said, yeah, we're ready for it, not knowing what was going to happen. But this is the era where everything just becomes total redemption.
Yes.
It's a energy of like a full resurrection.
Yes.
And then we enter into a whole new like stratosphere. We can't even explain what it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
We've only had a taste of it around 2020 of how much we had to shift from our dependency on the system.
Yes.
Because people had to figure out how to survive and how to build a new business or do something in that time when the restrictions came. It was a prep. It's preparing you.
Mm-hmm.
System is very, very, it's shifting into something where you're going to feel like, well, I've actually got some strength to make my own decisions on what I want to do, how I want to help people. If I want to set up something, I can have 100 people that come to me and I can help them. They can then help another 100, another 1,000. So can you see what is being created here? The vessel just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until suddenly the whole world have helped each other. And then we transition into this like whole new moment.
Yeah. And I agree with you because I've seen the energy body, and this is the mystical marriage, because the soul is the dowry, but it goes back to the creator. You know, and we think we're poor and impoverished and all of this, which is a lie. So when we go into this slipstream of time, we're actually engaging the source, our code, the truth of the energy, which is currency to help others, because energy is time. And if you don't have energy, you can't put time into a project because you can't ignite it with desire. You can't form and fashion an intention to go out. And I've seen this.
Wow.
I'm glad you're talking about the resurrection. And this is the shaking off what was old, because we have to come out of a belief structure that is death.
Yes. My favorite subject here. And this is so true, because I hope that people are prepared for their spiritual energy to be revitalized, but the fact that there is going to be longer life. Freak people out, because technology is going at a rate that we have never experienced before. So do not be surprised that you will find some new technology that will keep you the way that you are for a very long time. I don't know, but I might sound like a spooky person right now, but I have never, ever, ever thought that I was going to have a kind of a death. And I don't know why. Ever since I was a child, I just knew something was just going to transition and I was going to just go into something else. It was really weird. I can't make sense of it. But we are in that era. We are stepping into this era where you're going to hear some like outrageous things that you just go, wow, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we are.
We are. And that's the thing too, because we're multidimensional. So when we sleep, our body is resting, our spirit's alive, we're traveling, that's your dreamscape. And so for me, my awareness is, you know, you're talking about that transition, and this is getting caught up with the Lord. So just for those who travel in their dreams, we're just going to wake up and we're in another dimension, another state. And I agree with you. This is the other thing too, because I've reconnected with some people that I haven't seen during lockdown, and I'm aware that there's been a shift in ages, and an energy has come upon them like eldership. And they may still be young and youthful, like in their 60s or 70s, but the mantle that they're now walking in is as if they're carrying the wisdom of the 80s, you know, and this is the gray-haired wisdom of eldership because of the transition in the planet. And a lot of people haven't actually understood that has now been sown and expanded as a seed. And for those who are to be infused with the life of that stewardship, it comes to you.
I totally agree with you. And we know one thing, that wisdom actually keeps you youthful.
She does indeed. And she snaps us back into place when we're off course. But with riches, there is wealth of connections and relationships. And a lot of people have been resisting their connections, and it's caused body pain. And it's caused a twisted knee because they're in the wrong prayer stream.
Oh, well, that is an area that I know that you'll be able to definitely go in deeper, and especially with the pain body, because remember, a lot of us are ruled by our bodies.
Yes.
Our bodies seem to, control our every movement or thought. And if the body says, I don't want to do this today, then the mind says, okay, I don't want to do this today. Which really, it should not be that way, because you have the authority over that to say, no, hold on a minute here, body, you submit to me.
Yes.
Right. And you will do this. So we have to undo that as well. And we have to also come into agreement that our bodies are whole and complete for this mission.
Yes. And this is the
otherwise it wouldn't be here.
Exactly. And this is the sacred contract. So my sacred contract, which is my highest agreement with my God, that honors the holiness of the training, brings us to a level of priesthood or priestess. You know, a lot of people have been doing these ascensions, and they've had these understandings or these inner visions of being a queen or walking their sovereignty. So sovereignty isn't connected to a crown, I believe, or a ruler. It's actually, like you said, it brings the source and the solution for humanity. So the same as a good king scatters evil with his eyes and the people rejoice, same with a good queen who walks amongst her people.
Ooh. You have touched on it so well, and it is absolutely true. That is what happens. It's like you're being prepped for the mission. It's not about being placed with a crown on your head and, hey, look at me, everybody.
Yeah.
I just got upgraded, kind of thing. It's like, no, and as you go up, and this is once again, I'm going back into Jewish mysticism. As you go up, you serve more down.
Exactly.
So don't think that there's some kind of like cool place only for the cool people up there. You are actually then entrusted with more to come down and go, right, I got to pull these people up. I got to build this. I got to create that. I got to get ready for the new era. There's the responsibility is huge.
Yeah. And Esther's who've gone through their process are able to respond. And I really feel this, and I just want to do, regarding leverage and trade, okay? And the word that the Lord is bringing to me is the eunuchs have an inheritance.
Ooh.
And the eunuchs' job, they were entrusted with the beauty of the Shekinah, because that is a feminine quality of honor, love, radiance. And we are supposed to radiate a beautiful fragrance.
Wow, if you want, there's some even deeper sources of that, of the Ark of the Covenant, and why the Shekinah dwelt there, and what it was with those two angels, actually masculine and feminine. And it was very much of the, and I'm going to go into it right now, it's the love making. It's the unification.
The unification.
We forget that everything that God wants to create is all about the love story.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. It's the love story, and it's a continuous love story, and it's absolutely interwoven into every facet of everything that we do. Your mission is a love story.
Yes.
Your divine partner is a love story. Your life here is a love story. Your connection to creation is a love story. So you have to be in a place of love within yourself to even accept the fact that we are heading into a love story.
Yeah. And this is also what's happening. You know, they were talking about our hearts were going to be tested. You know, it started 4 years ago. So the motives of the heart, and it's the same with like the Russian and the Ukraine war. And all of a sudden, it's easy to now hate a whole group of people, you know, so the energy has to be transmuted because it's risen up again, but it's a purging. And it's like, what are we going to do with the vessel of that offering bowl of the heart? You know, is it going to be fragrant? What's going to burn there?
Well, you know that if you don't have a bowl that is fragrant to the Lord, well, you don't have anything, because that's what stirs up God, that fragrance, right? So it better be pure fragrance that you are creating. And this is why I said, once again, our intuition will go up, and we'll know who is really not saying who they are.
Yeah, but smelly.
Or they are who they are. And you'll see, but what have we always known? By their fruit. It's like kind of simple. Like, look at what they actually physically do. You've got to remember that this is, we're coming into the physical is really going to show up here. Tangible, the manifesting. Everyone that's been sitting there trying to get that manifestation, now it happens. Now it's the instant. I remember in 2000 and goodness knows was meant 2012 or something, I heard this literally is like, when you say something, it'll just happen. And I'm like, whoa, when's that era coming? And we're coming into that.
Yeah.
It's here now. So be careful what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're writing down, because that'll be an instant manifestation.
Yes. And I've
That's going to
experienced that. Yes, definitely. Yeah. And we're attracting people. And this is the other thing going into the Esther, because Haman was drawn, you know, he petitioned at her couch, at the king's couch, while the king was contemplating and thinking in the garden where he was walking in the cool of the day, right? And that's going back into the Eden realm, that zone of connection. And then he came, so Haman as a father had 10 sons, you know, and we talk about it like chiefs. And so he thought he was going to be elevated.
Yes.
But he fell on the Esther. And that's the other aspect. In the past, for women, there hasn't been a safety. So like in where I'm from, it's well known that for a single woman or a married woman whose husband doesn't travel with her into church circles, it can be a very unsafe place.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm just weaving that into the Haman, where he was drawn like a moth to a flame and he fell upon her. So the Bible, you know, we tend to romanticize it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Look, one thing that I was taught was, if you're going to read anything in the Bible, put yourselves in the shoes of that situation, because that's the teaching that you are going to receive when you put yourself into that situation. Put yourself in Moses' situation, put yourself in Abraham's situation, put yourself in Sarah's situation, put yourself in Esther's situation, because then you're not going to really understand or feel. It's great to literally read it. It's all literal, but there's actually 5 levels 4 levels to it, where you go right down to the psychology of what would I do if I was in that situation? How would I feel? What am I to learn from this? Every single word is there to teach you something about yourself and why you're here. Because, I mean, literally, there's not one person on the earth that doesn't ask, why am I here? Why am I here? What am I to do here?
And it normally starts when you're 5 years old if you're awake and aware. Yeah.
Like, what's the point of this? Why do we have to do this? Why do we go to school? Why do we go there? Why do we go to work? What's next? You know? So this is a life journey. It never ends, by the way. This is never ending. It's not just like, oh, here's a chunk of time and that's it. We are forever going to be learning, but we're coming into a freedom that the earth has never experienced. Never experienced this kind of freedom, because remember, Esther energy is freedom. It's calling back the people. We're calling back, ushering in the people. So then that means that everyone's gifting and talent and innovative mind and changes in their human DNA and all of these kind of esoterical things that we've sort of played around with become actually tangible.
Yes. And that's the other thing too, because if we go into Esther, it was the decree, it was the pen, it was the authorship, having permission, which is a contractual, which is a spiritual dimension of union, where you are able to write in the name and have full authority. So whatever you write becomes a living decree, which is also the integrity of the word, because you're fashioning and creating, but then there's obedience because you're commanding armies, you're commanding hosts, you're commanding people groups. And this is the restitution of, you know, what the Lord wants to do, because he wants to bring a reversal. So if your whole generational line, you know, like for me, part of what was in my lineage was the blueprint of the crucifixion, of the being burnt alive at the stake, of being driven out, and the persecution. But to have all of that redeemed and reversed, to actually come into the freedom of the Esther energy, where the eunuchs are the royal guard who handle the Shekinah glory with honor and reverence and respect, rightly discerning the celestial contract and the mandate and the mission for the benefit of humanity, trusting the heart has been such woven and entwined with the lover of your soul that you're actually not willing to sacrifice.
Oh my goodness. That should just be audio section and put everyone
hashtag heartwork.life.
All I can remember is the fact that when you said there was a decree written, one thing that you can know about a piece of paper, and when you write on it, black pen, red pen, whatever, that is actually symbolic of the vessel. So what you write is a vessel. The white symbolizes the light of the creator, and that light fills that vessel. That's why there's spaces between letters, because the creator is in each space, but the vessel is what needs to be shifted and filled. So here we have already a covenant. With what you write. I mean, my mind is blowing here just saying it, because what you write is a covenant. And if we want to look at formal things, in those days, your word was your word.
Bond. That's right.
People didn't have a piece of paper and a pen.
No. And
they had the word.
And this is the whole thing, you know, people are looking into the shadows, they're going back into the evil eye, you know, they want to fracture and split all this other entities and human spirits, and, you know, everything's evil and blah, 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 but they're constantly in a loop, repeat, and there's no trusting that going forward. And that's the fashion and framing of the architect, the futuristic blueprints of going beyond where we've been.
Absolutely. And I love that, the architect. And we are now collaborating. It's a collaborative spirit.
Yes.
People are now going to start organizations. They're not just going to start business.
Yes.
It's an organization. It's proceeds of sales go to this, or we're building this in these countries while we create music and whatever they're going to do that's creative, but proceeds go to doing tangible things. It's going to be the people. It's amazing. And I will tell you, there will be a huge inflow of financial aid or money that is going to be given freely.
Wow.
Like, because the storehouses have to open.
Yes.
Because when you're doing humanitarian work, it's part of the Lord's work, the finances must follow.
Yes. And that's
so whatever's been tied up from the government,
yeah,
will be unlocked,
mm-hmm.
and many people will receive money, or however the form of it will take, to build these things. That I do know.
And that's
because
the
you're
other
doing
thing.
it.
Yes, and a lot of people have been working behind the scenes. You know, they've been talking about wealth transference and things like that. So these avenues and channels.
Yes.
So I love that. But again, it's going to be attracted to what is now serving. If we're in the
it's all
era,
serving.
yeah, and if we're in the wrong age, then that's going to cause, you know, it's like a kink in your hose pipe, and the flow is going to be there.
Look, we all need to look at the sustainability, how we're building things, how we're making things, what are we using, the materials. Everybody's reading stuff now. They're not interested in just big brands. If you're using materials that don't serve humanity, I'm not buying it. I don't want to know.
Talk about that, the power of a buyer, where you invest your money.
It is all in the power of the buyer now. It used to be, old marketing was, you know, we create big brands, beautiful people walk and carry the brand, and yay, we're going to buy it just because it, you know, I want to be wearing that brand. Well, now we're not. Now we're like, what's their story? What are they about? What do they believe in? What are their ethics?
Yes.
What is their life like? I'm going to go check their Instagram. I'm going to look at their Facebook. I'm going to go look at their YouTube. I'm going to look at their articles from 1969. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to know who these people are. Who heads this company? Why can't I see their photo? Why aren't they visible? This is what's happening. It's because we used to hide behind the brand. You didn't see the designers, the faces of who the creators were.
Yeah.
Now we want to know, where does your stuff get made? Who's making it? You know, what is it that I'm actually putting in my mouth, wearing on my body? Yep. So these new creators are going to be very conscious of environmental issues.
Yes. So the other thing that I've been seeing is energy styling. So you talked about the intuition rising. So 5D is just a dimensional realm where you're creative with your higher faculties, you know, and you're aligned. So you're drawing.
Yes.
So part of that too is you're actually going to start feeling the quality of the clothes. If I use that regarding energy and garments and covering. So if it feels like it's been made in a sweatshop in Bangladesh, the shop and the clothes are going to carry a lesser energy. Or if you're, you know, if the Lord wants to shift you into an Esther energy, but you are addicted to shopping at hospice or secondhand because that's your limiting mindset and it's a band around you and he's wanting to expand you, you have to deal with that within your frame. So your frame is that which is like your sensory vehicle around your body. So I love the fact that you talk about intuition. Now also you're a creative and you're a singer, so you also hear by the ear. And what I was also picking up when you were talking and I'd ask you to speak into this, there are going to be those that capture lyrics and words who sing and release a sound of hope that bring a tuning frequency to the soul, to a region, to an atmosphere, which will clear the trauma of that event.
Yeah. Yes. One, because most of, let's say, collective will steer away from commercialized what they're being fed. We're being force-fed this music that really doesn't have any essence, any frequency in it, doesn't have life.
Doesn't have
anything, right? So these new artists, which have been in hiding and they're starting to sprout up, will be a new industry. And why? Because they will have their own space within, obviously, we call it the metaverse, Web3. It's immersive entertainment. That's what Web3 is. This is Web2 right here. We're just having this conversation. Web3 is literally being immersed into it. Holographic images appearing in your room, concerts happening right before your eyes. These people are basically what I call anointed to change the atmosphere.
Come on.
And to bring healing. And to also, what I've always felt was to bring people to an understanding of they're not just this body.
Yeah.
An experience. Movies will be like that. Theatre will be like that. Books will, like, there'll be immersive experiences. These people are so connected to the spiritual world that they can't do it any other way. They cannot be told by some big record company or whatever, you must sing like that. They'll be like, I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't need the fame. I don't need the followers. I don't need this whole marketing plan. I just want to do what I'm called to do.
Exactly.
Because they're not attached. There's this detachment from trying to get from zero to hero in like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just not going to be that. It's going to be people who are transparent about what they believe they have been called to do. But it could be they could be writing one book that could literally change a community. This is where it's heading towards. It's a renaissance. During that time in the Renaissance, everyone got together. The scientists, the astrologers, all of them got together in a room. The artists, the creators, the painters, the singers, and they were called bodegas, I think, and they were like a hub. And we're seeing these hubs come out everywhere around the world. They're like think tanks, incubators, where people can come and create, and they work collectively together. Oh, you've got an engineering mind, you've got an artistic mind, you've got a designer's mind. Let's create. That's what's happening. Yeah. So you can't, these people are not here to shoot up to fame. That's not them.
And that's the other thing. This is the point where we begin to trust the bloodline.
Yes.
We begin to trust the royal seal.
Yes. You must.
Yeah, and we trust the lineage. And that's that thing, you know, China rose up with the white page and, oh, didn't see that, the white page.
Yes.
And, you know, and that was the quiet form of protest. But the other thing with the power of the pen, which is a contractual agreement and divinity flowing through, is also our job as Esther's, is to speak for those who have no voice.
And they are definitely, and I'm sure the people that are going to be watching this, coming back to it, goodness knows, they might come back to this in a year's time. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
It does. It's timeless.
It's timeless. They'll resonate with the message and go, that is me.
Yes.
And I need to make, you know, certain steps to do that. If you believe you have something in you that needs to come out of you, because we all do, you must take action. You must start small. You must just do this. Do it for one person. Don't have to have 100,000 people. Do it for one person and see how that grows. you got to trust your intuition that you're here for a divine time. This is the greatest era to be alive in. I think this is correct, what I've been hearing as a young child. I remember when I grew up, obviously, in the church, and they said, it's the greatest era to be alive. You wait till you get to that time. And I'll be like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And here it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, we're proclaiming it. I totally agree. And people are resonating with what you're saying, which was the power of, you know, the message, the written word that drew in this interview and drew in our audience and drew in the comments of what people are doing. But we also need to be drawing on the energy of this time and pulling on the supply, weaving it into us, trusting the source, you know, and not letting it go because we're waiting for validation, waiting for permission, waiting for somebody to recognize us as we've sat passively in humility on the seat, you know. Be humble, don't question. And it's been passing you by. You know, time on planet Earth is short, and we must be drawing on the energy of this age in order to fully function in the mandate that belongs to us. And also recognizing the company of Esther's, recognizing the eunuchs, recognizing the spiritual alignment, recognizing the power of the word within you that is vibrating, wanting to come out. And even if you're only singing in your house with the open window, we're in the age of technology. Technology speaks of the air, it speaks of the angels, it speaks of the winds and the messengers. So Daniela released her sound in London. I picked it up in New Zealand, resonated with it, shared it. America picked it up. Australia picked it up.
Yes, we're all one. In some sense, there is no separation from countries anymore, because we basically get on here. We could meet possibly in the metaverse and hang out together, and no one would say, well, I'm from London today. Well, no, we're just in this world. We've created a world. And this is why maybe this is me just jumping a bit here, but, you know, you would be perfect maybe to start some kind of Esther thing. Here I go. Esther thing where women who believe that they need to go into that to form some kind of collaboration or some kind of community is what I sense, to prepare for this, because it's going to come around. And, you know, one thing, I never want to miss out on anything that's coming around. I never have, praise be to God, but
praise be to God.
You know, you gotta listen to your gut. You got to listen to your gut, not somebody else's gut.
Yeah.
It doesn't help hearing everybody else's opinion. If God has said something to you and it sounds obscure, bigger than you, then you're on the right track.
Yes, exactly. And if that's you, then, you know, drop a comment in the comment section, say, yes, interested, want to do it.
I'm ready to go in.
Yeah. You know, I'm ready to show up.
You've got some like deep gold to really, I think, reveal in a lot of women who are in that. I feel like there's women of urgency. That's what I feel like. They're like, oh, I just need to find a space where I can be free. And I think that would be a perfect scenario, a place, safety, like you said, creating a safety place, but also preparing them for the transition when, you know, technology does expand and you could create something even more exclusive in a sense, from even a metaverse perspective. I know it sounds like we're already going there, but it is going to come. So I always say, be prepared. You know, don't be just sitting there waiting and then someone says it and it's like, oh, I already knew that, but why didn't I do anything? I think this is the stage now where we're setting the stage for something new. There are plenty of people who are going to watch this and go, that's me. I need that next rung in the ladder. I need that. Because you can't do this by yourself. I will warn you right now, this is not done on your own. I've had people help me from day one. People have come in my life and then obviously not been there anymore, but that's okay. Everything's a season. But I've always had someone guiding me.
Yes.
Because you have to have accountability. You have to have a soundboard of someone that you can talk to. And you have someone who is also sometimes a person that you look up to.
That's so good.
Which is powerful.
It is powerful. And you were talking about that woman of urgency. Love it.
Yeah.
I felt that it would be a birthing container. And yeah, and one of the things that I have experienced with my Heartworks consulting clients, they come in to do their soul work and the inner landscaping of their life, but they're also trusting the sacredness of myself as a vessel, but all of them have progressed and gone on into their own mission and their own mandate, fully integrated and aware of their level of responsibility, their earth mission, what they're here to do. They're connected to their passion project, and they've all launched, whether it's a male or female, they have all launched and gone forth and become comfortable with their technology.
Wow. And I just absolutely believe that you have a vessel that is expansive to hold so many people and their energy so they can step into this new era confidently. That's what I do see. So there's always reasons why we end up on a live like this. And, you know, in the end, it's serving humanity. So I've served humanity by delivering the message, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that you'll be able to serve humanity through some kind of, like you said, a container where women are really going to face themselves.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, you know, as delivering the message, you can release that and let it go, because you know you're serving in other capacities and the work that you're doing globally and around the world. And this is the key, we aren't necessarily responsible to outwork the message that we receive. Our message, we deliver it and then we entrust it, and it becomes an infusion, and it literally becomes a life force that will impregnate the people who are to carry it. And what we're looking for are the agitators that are dynamic to cause that seed to erupt and spout and grow within. And so it becomes a solid base in a tree of life.
Okay, when are you writing this book?
I know. If I could only get it out
you
of
better
me.
get that transcribed, and it better be somewhere in the book, because that literally feels like a book to me. You're like a walking book. Like
I am a walking library.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I definitely can feel that for you, especially. Yes. And you know what? The beauty of this is deliver the message and not be attached to any of it, and then trust that, you know, that's it. Like there's nothing else. It's not as if, hey, it's just not. It's yay. I'm honored that I could even be a vessel to even say such a thing, because, you know, literally what happened, and it was kind of the weirdest thing. I was in the kitchen, I was making breakfast. There's nothing glorious was happening. Making breakfast, and then boom. And I was like, oh, what's this? Energy, Esther. I'm like, oh gosh, please no. That's what I said. I said, no, please. So I took out my phone and I wrote it in my notes so fast. And I thought, oh, do I even do this? Like, do I want to go there? No, can we not? And it was just like, just listen, Daniela, don't be attached to anything, no outcome, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is just put it out there. And I had no expectations of anything at all. And it's always the way that it happened. It's the same as 2015 when I did the first Unveiling Esther program, and literally posted one little post, and then I think it was over 1,000 women had come through, and I never ever had any intention. And that was the start of where I am now, a mission based. So it's this detachment really works, just so that you know. And it's time. And I hear like that Esther thing, the baton, just keep passing it on. Don't hold on to this stuff. don't hold on to the baton like you're not ever going to get one ever again, or you're never going to have that. You know, these things need to be passed on. They just, you got to let go.
And I like that, because it's also the provision within the palace, the storehouse, the wealth transference. You know, as a wife, she didn't freak out. You know, she knew where the checkbook was. She could, you know, sign it, and, you know, which is powerful. And the other thing that I'm loving is there's no religious trauma. There's no anti-men. There's no, you know, there's no angst. You know, I can hear the purity, you know, the sexuality, I love men. Yeah. You know, I love women, I love men, I love creation, I love children.
Wow. That's why I love men again. But, you know, I'm a bit of a jokester as well. I think this has been a process because, you know, as a woman myself, we've all been through traumatic things, and it has been a lifetime of healing, and it continues to be. Let me tell you, it continues to be. And I think the beauty of this is that as we come into this new few decades that we're literally going to be falling into, it's going to bring us, like I keep saying, a new love story. I just see this love story. It's like the Song of Solomon. I just keep seeing it.
Yeah. That's
you know, I'm my beloved and my beloved is mine. It's been my foundational scripture for all I can remember. And I never knew why. But that scripture is actually so powerful and potent to what it actually means. Is literally the king and the queen meeting, but also as the king of the Lord, and you coming as a servant. It's serving humanity. You are my beloved earth, and you know, the same. It's just, it's interchangeable.
Yeah, it is interchangeable. And that's the other thing too, because you're talking about the power and the anointing to elevate, whereas you're not abdicating earth. You're not saying humanity is wicked, just let it burn. Right. You know, and there isn't a hatred of, and that's the other thing, you know, the love story of the king loved Esther, who was human.
Yes. This is exactly what we're going into. The world's not going to blow up, everyone, and just disappear. just to warn you, and sorry for anyone that wants, you know, that this whole thing, well, everyone's just going to you know, we're just all going to no. There's a transition of consciousness. See, if the collective are not on the same page, we can't rebuild the earth.
No.
We're just going to be at each other. So this has to happen. It's actually, we're being pushed into it ever so gently. A little nudge.
A little nudge. So just share, because before we got on, you shared this powerful key regarding looking back. Do you remember?
Oh, yes. Well, look, it's not I won't take credit for it. I think it was either Greg Radin or Joe Dispenza had said that whenever you're about to go forward into something and some kind of limiting belief comes or a blockage, literally turn around and imagine behind you a white wall. And that is symbolic of there's nothing there. There's nothing there, and you can't go back there and try to find it because it is now a white wall. Now someone's going to say, but you can go around the wall. No, I'm talking about a wall that goes from eternity. You can go look for it. There's nothing there. Your timeline. You have to. This is a mind thing. Yes. We've been given a mind, which is your Chokhmah and Bina, which is wisdom, okay? And all of this, like you said, the sages, the knowledge. We've been given this for a reason, because we can create with our mind.
Yes.
But we've got to build this muscle. Just like this muscle, we've got to build that muscle. So, yes, there is a white wall behind me.
Yeah, I love that. And that's, you know, that's coming into the alignment of the now time, now age, going in the direction and accepting the spiritual alignments of now.
There's no need to look behind you. It's only pointing forwards.
Yes. And I think that's where there's been a lot of confusion in the past. So what you've brought has brought a lot of clarity today, and it is infused with hope. And I just love it, because I can see this pink energy, which is just gorgeous. So,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, to receive love, to know that, God, source, universal intelligence, divine mind, whatever you want to call it, the great supreme ruler of all creation and universes, all technologies and life and beings, actually wants to love us in our humanity, but also will clothe us and draw us, and that love story will lead us on when we're willing to follow.
Oh, I love that. It should be a title of a book. Love story. I'm sorry, I'm going to harp on about it until you actually do write it. It's a wonderful way to even just bring this to a beautiful completion, like, may the people who are tuning in now or tuning in later really see the transparency in this, and the message is literally aiming at your soul.
Yes, the message of Esther is
the soul
soul.
message. It is. It's the soul, and the soul is the highest form of it. It wants to create good things. So here, their work must be done too, to just really get with the soul.
Yeah, and that also weaves in beautifully the immersion, because the soul is an evil, and it is an energy around you that's infused with the radiant light. So that is beautiful. So do you want to wrap it all up in a close, and maybe speak some words just to end our time together?
Oh, goodness. More words.
Or sing us a song, whatever you feel.
Oh, God. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Paula, for having me on, your live stream and on your page. And I really pray that the people that come on here are absolutely touched by the words and encouraged, and at the same time will take action to reach out to you, to really just open their hearts and their soul to speak about where they're at and how they could have, the guidance to get to that next level. I also want to say to anyone who is watching, if there's an urgency in your heart, your spirit, and you can feel that tug, I think there's no more time to ignore it. You might have put it to the side a few times and said, oh yeah, not for me, not now. But something has really come to the end of the road for you, where literally you feel like everything's been taken away from you. Like, you're just left with this, okay, I really am a clean slate now, and I really have this opportunity. So I'm really speaking to your heart right now to really make sure that you prepare yourself for the greatest era of change, of reconciliation, of the world coming into its fullness, and also for you to be used to serve humanity, and to also see yourself as a vessel of light to create peace on this earth, which we are all so wanting. That I don't think that we are naturally born on this planet to want to see the goodness come out of it. We're not here to destroy it. And we're also asking that you use your gifts and talents, those special gifts that you have, that you've probably either said, no, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, or I did it before and it didn't work. All of the same sabotaging lines that you've probably used on your life. It's really come to an end, and you have to make a solid decision to pick up the mantle, the scepter, the baton, whatever that instrument is. You got to pick it up, because I don't think that this message came to you just for you to be entertained, or for you to just listen to something that was interesting. I think that you came today because you knew that I need this for my next part of my life and my mission. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you, Daniela. It was a joy and a pleasure, as always. Thank you so much.
Lovely, Paula. Great friendship that spanned a lot of years.
Yeah, it has.
And I'm very grateful for what you're doing for people as well, and helping them understand their power inside of them is so invincible, and also, you know, the love of God on their life too, which is important.
Definitely. And if you want to reach out to me, you know, post underneath, but you can also contact me at hope@heartworks.life, and that is a domain. And so that is wonderful. Now, Daniela had said she, you know, is so busy with her humanitarian work, and there's a whole lot of things she can't speak about that she's establishing behind the scenes and her partnerships. And so we want to honor that. And thank you so much.
Thank you. People, reach out to Paula. Honestly, you will not be sorry. She's got a gift and anointing in this, and she will literally take you to that next level. And I can speak for that because I've worked with her. So it's not, you know, it's not something that I take lightly to speak about others. So if this is important to you right now, you need to make that decision.
Yeah, let's do an immersive.
Yeah,
let's get it done. Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.